Hey, this is Sonny from the St. Thomas Show, only on Truth Emerges Radio Network, and you are on Facebook.com/TruthEmergesRDO and on Twitter at TruthEmergesRDO. Follow my show on SonnyThomas.com, at Facebook.com/SonnyThomasShow, and also on Twitter at SonnyThomasShow. Just a quick update. I kept thinking about the story, I think out of the UK not too long ago. A couple months ago, there was some chick saying that whites have no culture, and basically why she was denigrating white men specifically. And I think, if I remember correctly, actually, judging by her name, maybe the writer of the article, as opposed to the actual one, because she was being corrected, because I guess she was teaching stuff in her social sciences class or something like that in the UK. But it clearly shows that she might have been a Jew. Interesting enough, when you basically say that white people don't have a culture, that's actually very much asinine, because of the fact that there are so many things that make a culture. Just simple stuff. Topography alone can create a culture, because you have resources that are available, whether certain vegetation, whether there are a lot of resources, lack of resources. For example, if you live in an arid climate, the culture of the people who live in the Arabian Peninsula or in the Middle East is going to be totally different than those who live in some of the major river valleys of antiquity. For example, most of the major civilizations are all based around major rivers and tributaries, such as Egypt. It was all based off the Nile. You had a couple of great rivers in China, where many of the kingdoms were around. Just look in the United States. How much we depended on rivers and canals to be able to get around as a main source of transport, which is faster than going over land. For example, in the Dayton area, you had the Great Miami River, but you also had Little Miami, and you had some other stuff, and then, of course, you've got canals that go through here. There's a major canal that goes from Lake Erie down through, I think, to the Hudson in New York. So you got a lot of stuff there that automatically creates things. So you have things that are able to flow in more equally. That also changes the culture. You also had also different type of animals. For example, some cultures, their belief systems are built around certain animals, such as, why is a cow sacred in India? In the South American tribes, just in the 1500s, before the conquistadors had shown up, the certain things that were there, certain trees or certain volcanoes or even certain types of plants were considered sacred, because of the fact that they're few and far between, or they had certain effects on people and all sorts of stuff. So, it creates a culture. So the more and more that I see of that one particular statement, and I'm looking forward to actually going find the article again and rereading it. But it clearly, obviously, shows she has an agenda. She's totally asinine. And why in the hell this chick is teaching any type of cultural sciences or social sciences beats the shit out of me. Clearly shows they have a very marginal system there on how to vet people out. But, the bottom line is, just look at Europe. Everything that has just like Michael Savage says, border language and culture. Anything that has a border language, it will have a culture. For example, Poland is different than Germany. France is different than Germany. Britain is different than Germany, just because of the topography and even the climate. Obviously, why the Vikings came and started raiding down in the middle part of Europe in the 1000s and up, because of the fact that their topography was, they were getting overpopulated, and they have a very hilly and rocky terrain that they had to live off of, which means their resources are going to get more stretched, and they're going to start fighting each other, so they had to start stretching out. So again, it creates a culture, and it creates all different stuff. So again, for example, how was Adolf Hitler able to get a lot of people to follow him in Germany? Because of the fact he tapped into a lot of historical aspects of German history to justify some of his stances for his philosophy, and why he actually reached out to the British in a peace offering initially, because they were a lot of the same people. Because again, the Saxons, the Vikings, and many other people that had came and raided both their lands, their DNA was just as much in them as it was in the Brits. So they were essentially all, interrelated in many ways. Not that, but a lot of their goals were the same in different ways as well. So I mean, again, he was trying to do some peace offerings before they even got into any type of war type situation. I mean, that's just an example there. So, but and again, there's similarities and differences between China and Japan, even though a lot of the Chinese actually probably colonized Japan early on. But then you've got completely different cultural aspects between Koreans and Japanese. You know, again, they may look the same to most of us Anglos, but to them, that's night and day. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of aspects there. I mean, just go over to England any given time. Their accents are slightly different. You know why? Because those are regional dialects from the original tribes. And over time, even though they've expanded, they are still the same. So they sound the same to us, but the dialect's different. I mean, really, you go to the South, people in the South know someone from Virginia and someone from Georgia and then someone from Louisiana, all are going to sound totally different from each other because different accents and different cultures. So those are some things to look at. So we got to understand things that make a culture. A lot of it is borders and language, and also just social values, leaders that change things, innovation, all sorts of stuff. All create a culture. So these are things that we have to really look at and respect for them for what they are. So again, I just thought that was a pretty interesting thing to bring up a little bit. And just the more I kept thinking about it, it just kept really burning me and just getting to my call, and I had to say something about it. But nevertheless. Okay, so Catastrophe is definitely taking the helm of the night, and she's always wonderful coming up with stuff. She has a very special report she's going to do in a couple weeks for us, and very much looking forward to all my listeners getting to check that out. It's the same thing next week. We're going to have Nathan Lawrenson from the Battle of New Orleans Radio out of New Orleans, Louisiana. Is going to be filling host, and I'm very much looking forward to his commentary and anything he likes to bring up. So I was on a guest on his and David Abadi's show a few months ago, and it was a wonderful good time, and looking forward to hearing his commentary. So Solange Mahath, and check everything out, and retooling the show very nicely. I already have a new intro already pretty much put together, and we're going to really start jazzing it up because we're really going to start working on building up some sponsorships and really start making this thing go forward. So this has been a well-deserved sabbatical, and when we come back around, we're going to be really hitting home runs right out of the batter box. It's going to be looking really good. All right, go to SonnyThomas.com, cfccohio.org, thehmd.com, and also check out springbrookteaparty.com or .org, and also check out our advocacy page on Facebook for Air Alex Jones of WHIO and WKRC, respectively, on Facebook. So Solange Mahath, and follow us on our various YouTubes and Twitters. And back to Catastrophe. Salud.